has never been a more important time to move in a vegan direction. Whether you're ready to start, restart, or re-energize your vegan or plant-based practice, this podcast is for you. I'm Michelle Olander, life coach, vegan, ADHD matriarch, travel lover, and smoothie loather. And I know that it's the details that get in the way of your vegan journey. But I like to believe that the obstacle is always the way. So every week we meet here where I translate the tools of life coaching and Stoic philosophy. I bring you actionable tips, some laughs, interesting guests, and vegan ideas for everyone at any age. All to help you veg your best. Episode 270, From Veganuary to Everyday. Angela Yvonne and Vegan Pop Eats. Hi guys, it's Michelle. You know, social media and the internet... they have a lot to answer for some days. I really am wondering why I'm ever there at all. But once in a while, you run into somebody or something or learn about something on social media and you're just charmed. You're just delighted to know about it. And that's what happened with today's guest, Angela Yvonne from veganpopeats.com. I saw Angela Yvonne posting some videos from her daily YouTube challenge with so much personality and energy, showing us how she lives a vegan life. And I reached out almost immediately after seeing some of those videos, and I invited her on the pod. Angela Yvonne is the journalist and creator behind Vegan Pop Eats, where vegan living meets pop culture, conversation, and great food. Now, there are a lot of great takeaways I think you're going to get from today's conversation with Angela Yvonne. You're going to hear about her simple 3 M's, her tiny language tweak when saying, instead of I can't, to I'm not prioritizing that right now. She has all kinds of great ideas for unlocking momentum in your vegan journey or your plant-based practice. And we're going to talk affordability and your neighborhood's food architecture and how Angela went from Veganuary to being vegan every day without losing any joy. As I said, Angela Yvonne is in the middle, or was in the middle of a daily YouTube challenge when we recorded this. So I think you're going to love to go over there and see what she does with her consistent long-form storytelling. And stick around to the end for a 48-hour challenge. And yeah, we're going to point you to veganpopeats.com in the show notes. Angela Yvonne from Vegan Pop Eats, welcome to Veg Your Best.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm really excited to have a cute little conversation with you.
Well, I hope it's going to be cute. And I don't know if it'll be little. I think you've got so much to share. I've been following your work, especially lately to prepare for this interview. I was delighted when you said, yes, you would be on, because, you know, the name of your company, Vegan Pop Eats, your website, Vegan Pop Eats, it's fun. And sometimes we vegans forget to be fun.
Yes. And that's so funny that you said that, because one of my mutuals, there's been a lot of conversation about, not using the word vegan anymore because, the community, we know that people came before us, and we know that there was a certain way that people did veganism like back in the day. And it was typical, the typical characteristic, tree hugger, the man, and all these other different things. But you have to adapt with the times. And if you know that the service that you are wanting to provide, as far as talking about the lifestyle and how, plants are very important and medicinal and things of that nature, I think being a vegan needs to have a new PR person. Because the way that a lot of the people who are part of the community, they're starting to have doubts if, they want to be part of the community just because, people are stuck in their ways and, the vegan police and, the people with their vegan Bibles telling you how to vegan and if you can be vegan, or I just feel like some people just want to out vegan someone.
I hear you. I hear you. That's why the name of my podcast is Veg Your Best, because not that I don't think it's super duper wonderful to be a card carrying fifth degree vegan, but
Right.
there's a place for everybody.
Exactly. And that's, I think, a lot of the people who have been vegans for so long, I feel like they're forgetting that the main message is we want to live without causing suffering to people, animals, and the environment. That should be the focus. It shouldn't matter what they look like. It shouldn't matter, how they're deciding to be vegan. If they can only do meatless Mondays, I think people should be okay with that because everything is a building block. Most people can't just jump out the window when they're thinking about changing their lifestyle as far as eating. I've been a vegan for almost 9 years and there's still things that I'm learning.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, that's super important. And I hope that's always true for all of us. That, I always say that when I became vegan, and it's only 10 years ago, I didn't become vegan until my mid 50s. I realized how much I don't know.
Right.
And it's an opening experience, and I hope it's educational for all of us. And you just talked about if people could only do meatless Mondays. That reminds me of some of the great things you teach, but one of them is your 3 M's.
Yes.
Tell me.
That is meatless. You can do a meatless Monday. You can do a meatless meal. You can do a meatless month. And I came up with that because, when I first got started, people were just making it feel, and the words that they were using about this lifestyle just seemed so, it just seemed out of order because nothing is truly that hard if that's what you really want to do. And people, and we're all human, so we will make up every excuse in the book as in why we can't or why we don't want to, but we don't want to verbalize it because instead of it making you seem like you're in a good light, it makes you sort of doubt, who you are and how you've been maneuvering, on this planet. I was listening to a podcast where they were saying instead of saying you don't want to, you should use the word, I just am not prioritizing that right now. And when you say it like that, then that makes you question, like, well, why wouldn't the things that I eat be a priority? It's all about the words, and the words trip up people so much that they miss the message. The message is you can have luxury, you can have a good life, you can have abundance without harming yourself, the planet, or animals.
Mm,
Period.
yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. And the thing is, if you take perfection off the table, then
Exactly.
you can just keep trying something new and trying to do a little more thoroughly in one area or another, because it's endless. And you mentioned the vegan police. I always said no one's going to come kick your door in at midnight,
Right.
at least from the vegans.
Right. But they will turn their nose up.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And if we can't do it, yeah, I think it's true. There is an unfortunate reputation among some
Hmm.
vegans that it's all or nothing, and
Right.
today or never,
Right.
or yesterday or never. And so let's talk about your approach, Vegan Pop Eats. Where did the name come from? I think you've just got so much to share, and I want to try and pack a lot into the next 30, 40 minutes. So tell me about the name, Vegan Pop Eats.
The name came to me in a dream, actually, because when I first started, I'm fluent in pop culture. So I was doing red carpets. I was a host of a local TV show, the L Spot show in Brooklyn, because when I first moved here, um, I had, I when I first moved here, I was supposed to be a Harlem girl, but I live in Brooklyn now. And breast cancer came to my mom for the second time. And I had just moved into Harlem. I think it was on a Monday. I had bought a brand new bed. I was getting settled. And she called me and told me that the cancer was coming back. And so when she told me that on Monday, I was back in North Carolina that Wednesday. Like it was like a 2-day turnaround. And mind you, I had already been in New York for like 3 months. And, when I first came, it was all about, I was trying to be a publicist because I did PR work when I was living in Atlanta. And when she told me that the disease came back and I went back home, when you're taking care of someone who is sick, you start to think about, you know, if these were my last days, what would I want to be doing? And when you're listening to someone saying that, oh, I wish I had time, or I wish that I would have did this differently, and then, apologies and all kinds of different things, you start to look at like, I just, when it's time for me to go, I don't want my ancestors to be like, well, girl, what was you doing down there? Oh, I was just down there popping gum. No, I don't want them to be like, she was just down there popping gum. That's the biggest thing for me, to make my ancestors proud and also to know that I left it on the floor.
Mm.
So while I was there, and I tell this story because people can't believe that this is how it happened. But I went to school. I have degrees. I have a degree in public relations. I have a degree in broadcast journalism. And I also have a marketing degree. So, but I've always wanted to be on TV. And I can tell another story about how, I switched from wanting to be a buyer for Macy's to wanting to be on TV. But um, I was at home and I was watching TV because I was there, taking care of my mom. And we lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's a military town, and ain't nothing going on but eating and you know dating, if that's the better word. That's all we hung out at Walmart. Like it was really truly piggly wiggly. It wasn't much going on. So there was no kind of entertainment mentor and no kind of entertainment like space you could be involved with, no real news station, no anything that, a big city would have to offer. And so while I was at home, taking care of my mom, I was watching TV and I saw Delana Dixon. She was a journalist on the Gossip Table, which was on VH1. And I was like, she's doing what I want to do. So I'm going to send her an email. I didn't know her from nothing. So one thing about me, once I get onto something, I'm like a pit bull. I will not get off of it. So I'm searching, trying to find her email, find her email, send her an email and said, look, I'm stuck. I'm stuck, but I'm here taking care of my mom. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'd be back in New York within a year because cancer first came my senior year of college. So I stayed home for like a year and a half. I was the resource development director for Habitat for Humanity while I was there. And so, I was like, Delana, I'm thinking I'm coming back in a year. And I'm just like, I just need work that I can do remotely that will help me keep a New York address. And so, she answered me back, I think in like a week. And she was just like, oh, you could do X, Y, Z. She was just giving me like, I want to say like BS stuff, like posting on a Facebook or something like that. It wasn't nothing that was like hardcore, but I was just like, long as I can say I'm still working in New York, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. And then one day she called me and was like, oh, do you want to do this interview? She gave me my second celebrity interview because my very first celebrity interview was Stedman Graham in college,
Wow.
Oprah's partner, because come to find out, he's from the area that I went to college from. University of North Carolina at Pembroke, which is part of Chapel Hill. So she gave me my first interview, and I'm in my mom's house, after taking her to chemo and all these other different things, and I'm interviewing this person over the phone, transcribing it for the blog. So she just started giving me interviews. And me sitting at home in the living room in Fayetteville, North Carolina, I was just turning out celebrity interviews. Just turn out celebrity. And I was like, yes. So whenever I get to New York, it's about to be on and popping. And what people don't understand, when you are not doing hard news, and you choose to do entertainment news, the jobs are not like you can open up Craigslist or you can open up a newspaper or any other, job site. Those every majority of the people that you see on air, they either did an internship at that space, and when an opportunity happened, they were able to get it, or they had connections through their internships. And mind you, all of my internships were in North Carolina. So I didn't have the major connections like if I would have went to the University of Georgia or went wherever. And even though I was affiliated with, Chapel Hill, I wasn't on their campus enough to be like, oh, well, let me see which, professor could do an X me. But I've always been a person that um march to the beat of my own drum. So I can find an opportunity and make it into something. So, I did that, and then, my mother was starting to get, sicker, but during that time, Delana just gave me a lot of opportunities. So when my mom passed, I spent another year there because, I'm the only child. I had to take care of, getting the house and all this stuff, sold and all these other different things. I took the first thing smoking back to New York. But I was coming back as a person who was like, you know what? I've always been wanted to be on TV. I've always wanted to do red carpets. I want to do this. I've done my interviews. It was like I was back at square one because I had nothing. I didn't have connections here in New York. All I had was one best friend that was here. So I just started, reaching out to different people and, trying to figure out who's going to give me the opportunity to get my reel together. Because when you're an on-air personality or journalist, your reel lets people see if you know how to speak the language, if you look good, or, if you fit into whatever they're trying to do.
Mm.
So I'm here, New York, don't know anybody, and I'm just, anything that looked like it could be opportunity, I'm sending an email like, oh, are you looking for a correspondent? Are you looking for this? I need to get my reel done. I need to get my reel done. That's all that I was thinking about. So slowly but surely, I started interviewing, different celebrities here. Like I've done Issa Rae, I've done Tamron Hall, I've done a lot of them. At the movie premieres that would happen here in New York. And then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, it was like, because I was just getting a little bit of footing. I hadn't did anything major, but I was getting in the rhythm of, okay, people are starting to let me come and now I wasn't getting paid, but people were letting me, come and do different things. And then when COVID hit, I was just getting started on my, my vegan journey. And then with that, everybody was going live. Everybody was like, oh, we're in the house, we're going live. There's no more red carpets. And I was just like, well, I can go live. I can go live. What's going live, on Instagram? And I was just like, I wonder if people would talk to me about the vegan journey, because as you have your podcast that you're interviewing me on, but there's not a lot there. Matter of fact, I don't think that there's any like mainstream vegan journalists who are talking about the different journeys, how people, maneuver the lifestyle. They're not even talking about the lifestyle that would blow people's minds, that it's more than just food. So I was just like, okay, I found a lane. Nobody's talking about it. So I was just like, oh, I just started sending random emails, and all I had to show proof of concept was what I had did on YouTube, because with me being a host of the L Spot show, that she would give us allotted time where we could, talk about whatever we wanted to. So I started to, you know, stick my toe into the hottest, vegan spots in New York City. And so once that and COVID started hitting, I was just hitting the stride with that because I was like turning it out. I have like I think I have like 3 seasons of me just showing you the hottest vegan spaces, and it's on YouTube. And I was green, but I knew the message that I was wanting to convey. So that was showing proof of concept that, oh, I didn't know about that vegan space. So when the live started, I started reaching out to people who were in the vegan space. And I forgot who my very first interview was. It was Dustin. I forgot what his last name is, and he'll probably kill me. But he's a chef, and he's also he helps do recipes and things of that nature. He had
Dustin
cooked.
Harder.
Yes,
Dustin Harder. Yeah.
Dustin Harder. And he was like one of my very first interviews. And then it was Jessica, I forgot what her last name is, over the Invisible Vegan. Then it was Jennifer Sokovich over the Vegan Women's Summit. And these are people I had never met. And I was like, oh, do you want to talk about, the vegan life, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, sure. So I started doing that. And then, once I started getting, comfortable, I was like, oh, I need someone a little bit bigger than this. Like so I started researching like the larger, vegan people, and John Sally popped up. So I am a notorious DM slider. Like I will slide in your DMs all day. Like that's all I have to do. That's all I have to do. So I kept sending him. I was like, you need to be on my show. You need to be on my show. You need to be on, Vegan Pop Eats. And he was, he would look at it because you can tell when someone looks at your DMs, and he would look at it. And I was like, why don't you want to be on my show? Like, I was just like, you need to be on my show. Like, you need to get on the bus before there's no seats left. Cause I was like, really like, you can't tell me nothing. I've already did a couple of interviews, whatever. And then finally he was like, okay, he sent me his email. We got it. And I didn't tell anybody. And then when we did it, everybody was like, oh my, you got John. Oh. Like they gagged. Like they were just like, mind you, we're in COVID and I'm just in my bedroom turning out these different interviews. And then from there, it was like I just started getting everybody. I got Maya, I got Tabitha Brown has been on my show, Senator Cory Booker has been on my show, like, Brian Terry, Jennifer came back. I just had everybody. Like, because once you show proof of concept and they see that it works, everybody, people were like, oh, yeah, I'll do it, because I would, then I had something to send them in the email saying, oh, this is the link from the last episode. This is what it is from this episode. And so from there, then it just, people just started understanding what I was trying to convey. And with my brand, I am wanting to change the perception of veganism. And the reason why I want to change it is because people have this, misconception that you're going to miss out. You don't get enough protein. It's so strict over here. It's so expensive. But it's not if you eat the way that you're supposed to eat. And I always say, if it's not from the ground, you put it down.
Mm.
Or I'll always say, it's dope over here on the green side, because we have vegan hotels, we have fashion. Like before COVID, there was a vegan couture house here. If you go out to California, there's vegan fashion shows. There's a vegan fashion museum out there. If you go to Toronto, they have the vegan fashion. There's Vegandale. There's all of these different vegan spaces that people don't talk about. People just think that, oh, it's about the food. It's about the full lifestyle and how you can still be sexy, you can still have luxury, you can do all of these different things, and you don't have to harm anyone. And so for me, having a pop culture background, and because my personality is so big, I am your vegan it girl. I am your girl that, oh, well, where can I go eat if I come in New York? Where can I go eat if I, go to Miami, or whatever the case may be? I don't know all that because that's not my, territory, but I find out.
Mm.
And, you know, I'm pretty well versed in New York thus far, but there's still more. And right now I'm creating a series called Beyond the Plate, which is going to be on YouTube, where, the tagline is, if it's vegan, we're pulling up.
Love it.
I want you to know that you can get like luxury perfume without any animal products. I want you to know about the vegan beauty space. I want you to know about the lifestyle, whether it's yoga, whether it's, I don't know, holistic, whatever. And I also want you to know about the hottest vegan restaurants and places you can eat and how you can really maneuver this lifestyle and you will not miss out. And I know that was long winded, but I get so passionate about it because it's changed my life. By me creating this brand and fusing the things that I love, and to go back to why I named it Vegan Pop Eats, it came to me in a dream because I love being a vegan. I love pop culture and I like to eat. So that's how it sort of meshed together and it rolls off your tongue and people love it. So that's where that came from. And I feel that, a lot of misconceptions about our lifestyle is because people don't have the right information.
Yeah, they don't have somebody with your energy and your charisma, your riz, dare I say, it's a younger person's
You,
term. They don't have
you
somebody with your riz selling it to them. I think it's so great. This is why I've heard you call yourself a vegan concierge.
concierge, yes. I'll call myself vegan concierge. Right now, I'm focusing on becoming, the vegan it girl because I feel that my voice is needed. Not I feel, I know my voice is needed. And the way that I, live in this lifestyle, if it is packaged in a way where people are excited about changing their lives. And what people don't understand, I had an interview with Surviving Vegan, and she made it um, clear as into why people are so hesitant to crossing over to the green side, is what I call it, is because when you're telling someone that they can't eat anything, it's not the physical food, it's the recipes, it's the feelings that they had when they had that food, it's the family reunions, it's all of these things that, you know, are surrounding what you're doing when you're eating that food, that when they see someone say, oh, you can't eat that any longer, it's almost saying that, oh, what do you mean I can't have Meemaw's fried chicken?
Hmm. Absolutely.
And it's even though it's a form of projection, it's almost like, I don't want to stop eating Meemaw's chicken. And but when you roll up into the doctor's office and Meemaw's chicken is telling you you have to be on all these medicines, or you have a disease that if you would have just slowed your roll on Meemaw's chicken, it would be a different situation. But I just realized that with this lifestyle, it just needs a different message. And for me, if you want to do Meatless Mondays, I'm not even gonna be looking for your vegan card. I'm not even gonna be looking to take it from you, because everything, people just can't jump out the window on different things because you're changing your behaviors. And even if you take food out of it, if you think about, like, when you're starting to work out, if that's not something that you've been doing, you might start with a lot of energy on Monday, but come Thursday, you eating Mima's chicken.
That's right. That's right. It's not different. It's not different going vegan than it is doing anything else that you believe in, that you want to do, that you're excited about, or you think that would be helpful to you. It's all hard. Change is hard, and we notice we're all obsessed with Mima's chicken, whatever Mima's chicken is for us, you know. And I
Right,
always say, don't quit that first. Maybe
right.
maybe that's not the first thing that you take out of your rotation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it's really, in the lifestyle, or any lifestyle, and it doesn't even have to be the vegan lifestyle. Any lifestyle that you choose, you have to want to do it and you have to find your why. I can't tell you consistently why you should be vegan. I became vegan for health. My mom had breast cancer. I saw it was in the food. You don't have to tell me twice.
Mm.
That's how I became a vegan. Now, me being in this lifestyle, yes, I'm learning about animal activism. Yes, I'm learning about environmental um, activism. But for me, health is my biggest currency. It's my only currency. So if that's my only currency, that's what my main thought process is.
Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
that's how I look at it. And yes, animal activists and environmental activists, they do have places, but at the same time, you know, the only currency that we have is health.
Right. Without it, we're,
You can't
yeah,
talk about an animal if you ain't got it because you won't be here.
yeah. That's the oxygen mask we all need to put on first. Go
Exactly.
ahead.
Put on your
Mm.
oxygen mask first, and then you can deal with other things.
Mm. So, another topic that I've heard you talk about, and I want you to explain because I think it's so important. You talk about grocer's geography. How do you call it? The geography of our surroundings, how they affect us.
With me, when I think about the environments, I know that it's intentional for certain people in different environments and how they are in relation to food. I'm grateful that I live in Brooklyn, New York, where when I walk out my door, I have fresh food markets like right there. And I also have, the Chinese food, the liquor store. I have all those different things. But it goes back to you wanting to see what you really want to see, and of course, that's a different conversation as far as people who live in food deserts. Because if you live in food deserts, you probably just have a Dollar Tree, or you probably just have a Dollar General, or, whatever it is, where your only access is probably frozen vegetables and things of that nature. But I don't speak about the geography of groceries. I just understand that I am in a space where I have options, and I also understand that everyone don't have those types of options, nor do they want to see those types of options.
No, that's for sure true. We are not all dealing with the same facts
No,
when we look around. And so
no.
that's why we should not be comparing our own journey with anybody else's,
Oh,
our own
no.
choices with anybody else's, because we all do have different, and all of us are walking around, Angela, aren't we, with a full plate of something. We're
Yes.
all 100% committed in so many areas that we're not trying to make this punishing for anyone.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. And I think that it's important that people take baby steps into whatever lifestyle they're trying to, be part of. And, for the longest, whenever I first started, people would always be like, oh, veganism is so expensive. It's so expensive. So I came up with a series. I can feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner for $20.
It's great.
So I started doing that series to show people that, yeah, the only reason why it's expensive is you are buying processed foods. You don't buy processed foods. Those are the most expensive. Like, for instance, at Whole Foods, two burgers, I think is impossible, or it might be beyond before their, change up. Two burgers were like $15.
Mm.
But with $15, I can probably buy, I don't know, 10 cans of chickpeas, some frozen vegetables, bag of rice, farro or barley, and I can eat for 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I love that you are doing it your way. You're presenting it your way with your energy and with your background. I heard you say that you are not you used to eat everything in the old days. You ate chitlins and you
Yeah.
talk about I used to eat with my grandfather pickled pig's feet.
Yeah.
God forgive me. That's what I used to
And
eat.
thought it was the best thing
It,
ever.
it was good, and it was something I shared with. I didn't have it with anybody but my grandfather, but
Right.
that's and so you have those memories, and so we get it that there are certain things that seem normal in different parts of your life and
Hmm.
different situations in your life, and 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 we do have a sense that, oh, it'll be more expensive if I don't eat, but partially it's just because It's different. We're spending money on different things.
But what I really understood in my journey of being a vegan, that we are not taught on a day-to-day basis what food can do and not do for you.
Mm.
Like on a day to day, when I look back on um me growing up, I was able to eat whatever I wanted. Like there was no one telling me, "Oh, if you eat this much sugar, this might happen." There was no one in my family saying that. And as I got older, it was like the reason why they weren't saying it is because no one was saying it to them.
Mm.
And it's everything that we are doing up to now is generational. Whatever you're thinking about, whatever you are, wanting to be involved with, it's generational because you believe that that elder or that adult in your life is the Bible. If you want to compare the two, and you think, and you're psychologically taught that, eating pig's feet, eating meat is good for you.
Mm.
But then fast forward to 2025, there are doctors who are coming out talking about, we didn't learn about no nutrition when we were getting our doctor's license. Pretty much, we're taught to give you medicine, and that's what we're going to do. And if you grow an extra arm, we just got medicine for that extra arm that you grew. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything that's healing you,
Yeah.
but we know how to keep you doped up on medicine. I was at home in South Carolina, I think maybe last year, and my aunt was talking about how, she had all these different ailments, high blood pressure, diabetes, and she went to her luggage and she pulled out this big bag of medicine. I swear, from what I could see, it had to be about 6 bottles of different type of medicine, because it was like, I got to take this, but because of the side effects of this, I got to take this one, and the side effects of that one, I got to take this one. And I'm just like, imagine you walking around every day. In order for you to just get from point A to B, you have to take 15 medicines
Mm.
to live comfortably, and you're not even that comfortable.
Mm.
And that's what really got me to thinking about, the vegan lifestyle is very misunderstood. People know that plants are medicinal. People are learning now that all these things that we were psychologically told is not true.
No.
It's not true. And then you sit here and you're like, so all this time I'm thinking that this is the color blue when actually it's yellow.
Yeah. 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 I think so many things, when you kind of step away from it, you start
Uh,
to feel like, wow, I really was misled by
yeah.
people, both well-meaning people and not so well-meaning people. You talk about how Veganuary was
Hmm.
what really got you to commit.
Yes. Veganuary, about 8 years ago. And, Veganuary started out in the UK. And it's basically you take 30 days to not eat any kind of animal products. And mind you, when I moved to New York, I was a vegetarian, because the way that I started, I didn't just jump out the window. I was never really a red meat eater, but I did like burgers. But I was never like, oh, let me get me a steak.
Hmm.
So when I started to, take the food groups out, I would start off with red meat. So I stopped eating red meat altogether. And I did that, I think, probably like, I don't know, about 2 to 3 weeks. And then the next thing I got rid of was, it was like, okay, I got rid of the red meat. So let's get rid of the chicken. So it was red meat and chicken for, the next 30, 60 days. Then it was red meat, chicken, and because the hardest thing for me to give up was seafood, believe it or not. I could give up seafood and cheese, but cheese wasn't so hard because I wasn't like a person that consumed cheese a lot, if that's the best way to say it. But seafood was the hardest for me to give up. But I just basically 2 to 3 weeks, I would remove, something that was not, vegetarian or vegan. And then finally, when I got here, I was still on seafood. Like I was eating oysters and lobster and shrimp, and occasionally would, slip and eat, because we're in New York, and New York has like great pizza and it's like on every corner. And, when I first got here, but then, I decided that in, Veganuary, I was like, you know what? I want to stop all of this. I'm ready to elevate. I'm ready to graduate. So for 30 days, I just gave it all up. And then once the 30 days was over, I just kept going. And then fast forward, 8, 9 years, I'm completely animal free. I don't, I don't have any kind of like slip ups on cheese or whatever, because we have so much really good vegan cheese and stuff like that. And then, I'm fortunate that in New York, because we're vegan, we're vegan culinary space, because we have so many different types of food that, yeah. And then I learned how to cook, because I wasn't, I'm not a chef, but I can feed you. But I wasn't like really, I wasn't trying to have being in the kitchen be my ministry. That wasn't going to be my ministry, but
Hmm.
I enjoy it. And it's easy. I'm not trying to be a chef. I have no desire to be like, oh, let me put out a cookbook or, something like that. My ministry is communication. My ministry is showing you as a visible um, person, or a visible, tangible thing that you can touch, that, I was here, now I'm here, and look how I live in abundance. That's what my ministry is.
I think that's, to me, so powerful. Just living a happy, excited life as a
Yeah.
person who's not eating animal products and not consuming animal products. It makes it look possible, and that's the major drawback, I think, for most people, is they just go, yeah, okay, fine, but it's not possible for me. But if they
Right.
see you having a great life and doing everything and enjoying everything and living a full life, that's so powerful. And one of
Hmm.
the ways they see you doing this, Angela, because I don't want to take up your whole day, because you are, I mean, I know you've got content to create, but you've got a challenge going on YouTube with your videos, and I am so impressed by how you just make that happen, because I can overthink a video. I can overthink that for weeks. So I see you just doing it, and I'm so proud. So tell me a little bit about your challenge, your video challenges over on YouTube.
Well, I started the challenge because, I have been doing content and things for a while. I've been doing it for a while. And one of my goals is to be able to sustain myself from my talent. And content creation is a huge industry. And if you're monetized and you are getting in front of the different brands and you're able to have partnerships where, you can be paid, a lot of money or a little bit of money, but you can be paid to be who you are. And so I really have been researching like different things, and YouTube is the strongest platform because it's longevity. People love looking at long videos. The longer the videos, you can put your ads in, you can put all these different things. So one of my good friends got monetized, like I think 2 months ago. And I was gagged because we would always have like little meetings about how are these people, doing all these things on YouTube and TikTok and da 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 da, and they're getting all these different things, and they're able to go on brand trips, and they're able to, the money that they're making has really like leveled up their lives. And I was just like, I know it's not that hard. I know that it's about consistency, because I remember when I was, you know, when I was on Instagram. Right now I have about 19,000. I'm you know, I teeter totter on getting to 20,000. I don't know if Instagram likes me or not, whatever. And so I Robbie Locke had gave me a challenge when I was speaking at the Animal Vegan Summit. It was in DC, if I remember. It was a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, a couple years ago. And he was like, that's when having 10,000 was the business. And he was like, Angela, nobody's really going to be paying you no kind of attention if you don't hit 10,000. If you don't hit 10,000, it's just like whatever. 10,000 was the magic number. And I was like, okay, because I love a good challenge because I have a short attention span. I get bored really easily. But if a challenge is involved, I'm 100% focused because I want to win. Like, I want to be the one to be like, oh my God. So I remember him saying that, oh, you need to get to 10,000. I was like, challenge accepted. So I started churning out content. I was posting twice a day. I was just like, oh, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., you gonna get a video out of me. I don't know what it's gonna be, but you're gonna get it because I gotta hit 10,000. Yeah, I gotta hit 10,000. And I'll remember that I had spoke at the Vegan Women's Summit and I was like at 9,900 and something. And when I got off the stage, I hit 10,000 right then and there. Like right when I finished the panel that I was moderating, it hit 10,000 and I started crying. You would have thought I won an Oscar because I was just like, good grief. I was just so hyped. I was just watching and watching and watching it. So now my challenge is that I want to be, well, right now it's I'm participating in the Great Lock-in, and this is something that the different content creators have been talking about, like on TikTok, where you take the next 4 months and you really lock in to what you're wanting to accomplish. No kind of obstacles, no kind of um interruptions. If you say you want to lose those 30 pounds, you got to lock in. So everything that you're doing needs to be leading up to you getting those 30 pounds off. If you say that you want to, be better at content creation, you got 4 months to lock in and you better be posting and you better be doing all you can to get what it is. So for me, I am concentrating on, you know, being consistent on YouTube where, I'm posting at least one or twice a week. And I'm starting to notice that, the consistency is slow, but it's a slow burn. But I'm starting to see that, more people are watching my videos, or, I'm starting to inch closer to the mark because you have to get 3,000 viewing hours or 4,000 viewing hours before YouTube will recognize you as a YouTube partner and start paying you. And so I've challenged myself that by December, I'm going to be monetized on YouTube because that is the space that I want to um, be successful in, because that YouTube pays the best. YouTube pays the best out of all the platforms, is what they're saying. And all the girls that I follow, they got their success on YouTube before they decided to cross over to like Instagram and TikTok and all that other stuff. And I've watched their growth where, and now they're there and their whole lives have changed because of it. And you can't do anything without capital. So it's one of those things that by me getting monetized, it will free up my time to, one, concentrate more on my brand and getting more visibility. And two, it'll allow me to pour back into my community and pour back into, possibly other projects that I would want to bring to life.
Yeah, because it's not just money. It's the whole package of it. It's the visibility, it's the
Exactly.
reach, it's the being picked up by other people taking you seriously, and then sharing it with other
Exactly.
people, and that kind of lateral movement in your career. And I mean, I think it's just so fun. I hope everybody who's listening to this interview is going to go over to your YouTube, and on YouTube you are Vegan Pop Eats.
Yes, and Vegan Pop Eats on YouTube, and that's where um like I said before, I had just started showing the hottest vegan spaces, and because I decided to do that, allowed me to get my own show on PBS, on NJPBS, and it's Vegan Pop Eats with Angela Yvonne. And the way that I was able to get that is because I was able to show proof of concept. Because in the vegan space, people don't see what is possible unless you show it. And because there is no blueprint, because if you go and Google, I guess, vegan lifestyle shows or anything that's specific about, veganism, it's few to none.
I agree.
And so I tell people, like, I'm the only one who is operating in my space the way that I'm operating it. Because when you see a lot of the vegan content creators, they concentrate on food. Like they can show you, oh, my three favorite lunch items, or oh, this is, my favorite bean, but for me, I show you skincare. I show you, different places you can go eat. I show you that I've spoken at Harvard speaking about, the vegan lifestyle. I show you that I have, episodes of past, present, and future of what it looked like, what the vegan lifestyle is growing into. So I show you a different perspective than I'm different than anyone else and that you see. So, yeah, YouTube, was allows me to show proof of concept, and it allows me to show what is possible. And I know that people are ready for more than just food with the vegan space. They just need the perfect communicator.
I think you're so right. And people like there's certain people that they respond really well to. That's why I think
Mhm.
you're a great person to have on the show. I don't talk about food. That's just I feel
Right,
I don't I mention it because it's a block that people need to get over with, but you're not going to learn any cooking tips here. The other day
right.
I talked about chia pudding, how after 10 years of being vegan, I finally realized how simple it was to make
Right.
chia
And I'm
pudding.
obsessed with chia pudding right now. I'm obsessed with it because it's so easy to make. You can eat
Yeah.
it for breakfast, you can eat it for lunch, you can eat it as for a snack. And I keep it in my refrigerator constantly.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So one of the ways we're going to help you, Angela Yvonne, get more and more gigs and more credibility and more contacts. We're all going to go over to YouTube and we're going to hit on the subscribe button that says Vegan Pop Eats, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get you.
Yes.
What's the next number we're working on? 20,000?
We're 20,000 on Instagram. That's the next number.
20,000 on
Um,
Instagram.
and on Instagram, that's Vegan Pop Eats 2. And the reason why there's a 2 behind it is because I was hacked when I was just at 700. And
Oh,
I could never get Vegan Pop Eats back. And I haven't even tried it because I kind of like the 2, as in me too.
yeah.
I kind of like that, but yeah. So that's what I'm constantly working for, because social real estate is currency. And um yeah, I want to be able to spend.
You want to spend it for, and so we all can get a little more excited about the lifestyle. And you can be our vegan it girl. Is that what you call
Yes,
yourself? That's what we
that's
need.
it.
That's what
That's
we
it.
need. Angela Yvonne, thank you so much for spending this time with us
Of
on Veg Your
course.
Best. My listeners are all going to get all the links to everything in the show notes, in the episode show notes. And we're all going to look for you in your next big video series or your series for is it a New Jersey Public Radio, Public TV?
Yes, it's NJPBS. I don't know when the next episode will come out, because the president decided that funding was not
Cutbacks.
necessarily for PBS, and that's fine because I know how to pivot. But the next thing that I'm doing is Friday, which is tomorrow. I'll be hosting the Mercy for Animals event, and then I'm supposed to be going to Toronto at the end of October 31st to host at the International Vegan Film Festival.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow, that's super. Okay, we're going to have to, and the way to find out about all that is to follow you on YouTube and on Instagram,
Yes,
right? Then we'll
yes,
know
yes,
nothing will
yes.
get by us.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right,
Follow
Angela
me.
Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for this. I really enjoyed it.
So, what did you think of Angela, Yvonne, and veganpopeats.com? I especially loved Angela's line that she thought veganism needed a new PR person. I so agree that this is something for each and every one of us to take seriously, because no one is probably going to tap you on the shoulder and ask you to move in a public vegan direction. So you and I get to show leadership, even in small ways, starting today. Now, for those of you who like the homework here, your challenge is to choose one of these things to energize your November. You could pick one M. Remember Angela's 3 M's? Meatless Monday, Meatless Meals, or a Meatless Month. Choose one, maybe. Or map a 10-minute greenside circuit where you live. One affordable produce stop, one protein staple, and one decent veg entree somewhere you go by every day. Remember to use that line, "I'm not prioritizing that right now," when old habits pop up, and choose one small swap that you do want to prioritize. These are just a bunch of the ways you can be the best vegan PR person that you can in your life this month. And while you're at it, I hope you're going to subscribe to Vegan Pop Eats on YouTube and drop a comment to support Angela's YouTube challenges. Tell her Veg Your Best sent you. And links are in the notes. And just remember, supporting our guests, supporting this podcast, even with a like or a follow or sharing it, those are ways that you can be a vegan PR person. Thanks. Get out there this week and just veg your best. Veg Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Veg Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.